to Peekskill! I'm home to stay! Meet your new neighbor!
Visitors to the Peekskill Project came from the international as well as the regional community. 9 prominent art curators selected over 100 artists to create site-specific installations inspired by Peekskill's rich history, burgeoning artist district, stunning natural environment, and diverse population.
I'm from California, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. The electric chair cut. Started out, well, I was cutting my friend's hair, and we always had to add a little of this and a little of that to keep it exciting. And then we ended up with the electric chair cuts, and so I've been doing it all over the place for about 15 years. First one is the hardest one to get, and so that's what the point that I'm at now, because nobody can visualize what it's all about. Once they see somebody actually getting electric chair cuts, they realize how much fun it actually is. In the beginning, people are a little standoffish, so, you know, it takes a little doing.
There were approximately 35 businesses that were involved in the project. Over 100 artists, almost 120 artists participated in this project. I think really in dressing with the Sacco and Vanzetti installation, the way immigrants have been targeted over the years who became involved in crime in the United States. The artist Michael Buckland went out and did almost a performance-type installation. Kathy Goodenow is a very interesting study in artists that form arts families. Her father actually is a very famous artist, an abstract expressionist. Kathy, although she's very young, seems to us to really have the sophistication of somebody who's grown up with painting. Mary Mattingly works a lot with these concepts of apocalyptic type art. Choosing to have her in the Pasta building with the setting of the large windows that reflect on a bygone era of the 1930s was a perfect location for her work. And Natanucci does a lot of site-specific work. He's focused a lot in these large canvases on fingers because fingers is so representative of somebody's personality. Amanda Mayer staged those photos in the Pasta factory, so those were actually shot in the building. A real photographer's eye. The goal of the Hudson Valley Center for Contemporary Art, which was really born to the public on June 12th, was really to highlight that a space like this exists in conjunction with the Peekskill Project, really highlighting young, contemporary, cutting-edge work that's being done by artists.
I had the idea of using this thing with like vacant cars, so I found this spot, which is in this empty lot, and it seemed like a perfect place where maybe an empty car might be. And so my idea with the project is to basically kind of put a sign up and invite members of the public to destroy it. And in between sessions of them destroying it, I've been photographing it. So it's somewhat like what a car would be like if it was in its natural environment, maybe abandoned, like someone would spray it and someone would take apart to the car and so forth. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here, is inviting the public to come and smash it up and to kind of bring a new lightness to a situation that's usually so avoided.
Steed Taylor does tattoos. The goal of his tattoos is to memorialize events. Below the painting of the tattoo, all the names of the artists that participated in the Peekskill Project. Monika Weiss was educated and born in Poland. She came to the United States, participated in various fellowships, and has done this particular project, which she calls Drawing the City, 3 different times at this point, in different colors. Her concept is to imprint her body and the body of all of the people of a community on the canvas. Her movements are very magical. They're very meditative and almost like a dance. And she invites participants, whether children or adults, to come and join her in this dance, but then to leave the imprint of the dance movement so that it becomes part of the canvas.
We would love to be able to be a venue for multiple site-specific installations and cross-genre, cross-medium. There's a lot of nooks and crannies in the theater that lend themselves to presenting work, whether it's downstairs in the bathrooms, inside the theater itself, upstairs in the visual art gallery. Then what the museum did was they recruited various curators to be responsible for the selection process. All of the installations to some extent were new to me and were a surprise to me. I didn't know what was going in our theater until they were actually up. Upstairs there would seem to be a variety of work, from an installation with a Nintendo game and the soundtrack from the Nintendo piece going in full blast, to writing on the wall, to a piece that was done down at the riverfront where a guy went and cleaned up all this garbage down at the Peekskill riverfront, put it in little containers, wrapped a rope around it, attached it to his surfboard, and went out into the Hudson River. Clearly, throughout all of the Peekskill Project, you saw a lot of provocative content, and I think that is just an intrinsic nature of art in a contemporary setting, which is that art by definition is provocative, but it always has that potential, that edge is there.
I had been sort of thinking about this kind of thing. I wanted to do something about the war. I lose sleep over what's going on in the world today. But I didn't want to do something totally strident or something that would be in people's faces, or something that would be hurtful to people who had service people overseas. So what I decided on was a public park where people are used to being quiet and relaxing and contemplative, and also where we oftentimes honor our war veterans and our war dead. I've got some children's artist tempera paint that's completely non-toxic and washable and very, very safe, and I'm spraying it on the trees. It's beautiful, it looks like velvet. Now I'm spraying it on the trees, but what happened earlier in the week was on Sunday there was a mention in the New York Times about the Peekskill Project, and it also mentioned that the work of Carla Rae Johnson would be a comment on war. The city council of the city of Peekskill was adamant from the beginning, I'm told, that they didn't want any political content in the artworks, which is kind of a Sisyphean task. I mean, you're just never going to get it done, because art is inherently oftentimes about ideas, and ideas can be very controversial. I was asked yesterday afternoon to send to the Peekskill, to Mayor Testa in Peekskill, copies of the quotes that are going to go in tags on the bases of all the trees, and they're quotes by Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, just people whose minds we really respect. And I got an email from the mayor about 7:30 last night that he thought there would be no problem. I hustled really fast, got up at 5 o'clock this morning, started, rented a compressor, got my stuff together, and started spraying trees.